Welcome, everybody, to Right Side Broadcasting Network's coverage of today's President Trump campaign event in Mankato, Minnesota. I'm Joe Sills, live from the RSBN studio in Auburn, Alabama, and we have a crew standing by there in Mankato and also a crew standing by in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, as President Trump will make two campaign stops today in coordination today with the Democratic National Convention, trying to take a little their light, I guess. So we'll be live in Oshkosh, Wisconsin later on after the conclusion of this event. We have Liz Willis ready to go here in just a second. I wanted to say thank you all so much for tuning into RSBN. We will have full coverage of a full week of campaigning for President Trump. Tomorrow we're headed to Yuma, Arizona, and Thursday we will be in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So if you're in that area and you plan on attending one of these events, please come by and say hi. It's an honor to be with you today. And now I'm going to send it to Mankato, Minnesota, where Liz Willis is standing by.
Broadcasting Network. I'm your host today, Liz Willis, and we are live from North Star Aviation in Mankato, Minnesota, where President Trump is going to be live today giving remarks on Joe Biden's failures on jobs and the economy. President Trump is scheduled to speak at 2 p.m. today, so we will be bringing you all things President Trump, not just here in Minnesota, but also later this evening, because President Trump has two campaign stops. The second one today coming this evening at 4:30 p.m. in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. You can expect for both of those to be completely live with Right Side Broadcasting Network. And before and after the speeches, you will have commentary from me today about what's going on, why President Trump is doing the campaign stops in this sort of a come and go style. He's really jumping on the planes, going to multiple locations today and this week. Of course, today is Monday. This begins the first day of the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. So President Trump is taking some media attention off the eyes of the DNC and bringing them to his campaign, which is exactly where they should be. We're excited to be here today in Mankato, Minnesota, like I said, and it is currently 12:37 p.m., so we have about an hour and a half before President Trump takes the stage. Again, President Trump has 4 stops this week on his campaign trail, really focusing on some key battleground states. Those being today Minnesota, later this evening Wisconsin. Tomorrow we'll be in Yuma, Arizona, and on Thursday we'll be very close to Biden's hometown in Old Forge, Pennsylvania. Of course, you can Friday. That's on Thursday. Sorry, excuse me. So on Thursday, we'll be in Pennsylvania near Biden's hometown, and President Trump will give a speech on future Democratic nominee Joe Biden's failures on the economy and jobs just a few hours before former Vice President Joe Biden is scheduled to give his acceptance speech. The last time Trump visited Minnesota for a campaign rally was in downtown Minneapolis on October of 2019. Now, while Minnesota has not backed a Republican for president since 1972, his campaign has targeted the state as a pickup opportunity this year, given Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton's narrow 2016 win by the state. So again, the 2016 election, Wisconsin did go blue by a very thin margin. It was around 1.5% that President Trump lost. So he has really dedicated and said multiple times that he plans on focusing on Minnesota. Now, the area that we're in right now, actually about southern Minnesota, all 9 counties surrounding this area did vote red. They voted for President Trump, 100% support, winning all of those. So this is a very red, very Republican area of Minnesota that we happen to be in, and you can tell because there are a lot of supporters ready to see President Trump. This is a little bit different of an area. There's a lot of questions. Is this a rally? What is this? Technically, this is not a rally. This is a much smaller version. A lot of the same, but on a totally different scale. So as you can see, I'm going to turn around now and talk about kind of what's going on behind me. We are currently in the media pit. There are media down below us and chairs sectioned off. They have been There are multiple signs for social distancing. Please wear your mask. But again, this is an outside venue, plenty of open space, lots of oxygen and sunshine. You can see it is an absolutely beautiful day, and the chairs are spaced out. So families that came together and are traveling together might sit as a group. However, that group will be socially distanced from other groups. They have a lot of different, I'd say, barricades. So a lot of them are separated. I'm not sure whether it's VIPs, regular attendees, media, campaign. Now, the campaign staff is wearing their masks 100% of the time. I have yet to see any of them without it. Most media is as well. At this point, it's kind of just a sign of respect. And I had mine on as well, but for camera, I'm not going to be wearing it today, so you don't have to worry about seeing that. President Trump is here today, and you can tell that he is just trying to really mobilize his entire administration to engineer what he's calling the Great American Comeback. He's working hard to support job creation, while Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are proposing a disastrous far-left economic agenda that would raise taxes, stifle business, and stall economic growth. Joe Biden is no moderate, and he has endorsed the most radical overhaul of the American economy in history to mobilize his socialist base. You can see how bad this is irritating President Trump. The second Kamala Harris was announced as vice president, President Trump said, no way. It was, I think, the next day that these 4 stops were announced. Oh, it looks like I can see the MyPillow CEO, Mike Lindell. We got him over there. We see a couple familiar faces here today. So this is set to be an exciting, not rally, but remarks. That's what we're calling this. These are remarks again. Now, it should be noted that a sitting president has not came to Mankato, Minnesota since, oh, my phone's messing up, but I believe it was since, I know it was George Bush on his re-election. So it's been a long time, and you can tell the crowd here is just eager to see a sitting president, as many people would be as well. I'm going to hop over in just a minute to the YouTube comment sections. I know I've hit y'all with a lot of information. We've got a lot going on this week, and a lot of this is new to us as well. Things are just shifting, trying to fit in to COVID guidelines and things that will just appease everybody. So these are different types of events than what we're usually doing. We have someone saying thank you to Right Side, so we appreciate that. It's nice to have a friendly face in the audience. Had to take a second to wave back at her. But again, this is new to us as well. We're going to handle it as much like a rally as we can. It really does seem like one. However, it is going to be a limited number of guests. I do want to say thank you to our partner. We're doing something super fun. So our partner for today's event is going to be Disme Coins. That's DISME coins.com. We've worked with them a number of times before, and they've proven to be great fellow patriots and leaders and givers, really kind people. So that's dismecoins.com. We're actually going to be doing a giveaway with them for the duration of this week. So like we said, we have today in Mankato, Minnesota. Later this evening, President Trump will be giving a speech in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Again, he will be live tomorrow. We will be streaming that as well in Yuma, Arizona. We will be traveling Wednesday, and then on Thursday we'll be live from Old Forge, Pennsylvania. Each of these rallies are good remarks. Excuse me. I'm going to have to get used to not calling them rallies, but it's going to take some time to adjust. But each of these are going to be a lot of fun, different viewers, different subjects, whatever is really most important to that state President Trump is focusing on, whether it be a trade, jobs, the economy, or polar opposites, immigration and border security in Yuma, Arizona. President Trump is excited to speak on what that state particularly needs, and we're excited to be able to bring these to you live because it's been a while since we've been able to see the president out of the White House, out of the office, just really live amongst his fan group and fan base. So we're excited to be able to bring you that today. Again, Disme Coins is helping make that possible by partnering with us. So thank you to Disme Coins. Please check them out. Go to www.dismecoins.com. They use precious metals to make some of the most beautiful and patriotic Trump memorabilia coins that you could possibly think of. Our giveaway will be concluding on Thursday at the Pennsylvania remarks speech, so you can stay tuned to that. I'm not sure if the giveaway is live yet. I will check that in just a minute. If it's not, then it will be. So make sure you join the giveaway. It'll be on the giveaways tab later on the website. But for now, go and check out their products. Truly unbelievable. Lots of new designs coming out for the 2-ounce coins, but our giveaway is going to be massive, around $500 worth of coins minimum, because it increases from the number of entries that we have in the giveaway. So this week we will for sure be giving out a 2-ounce silver coin, a 4-ounce bar, and the Trump Train desk set. If you don't know what I'm talking about, again, head over to the website www.disneycoins.com. Couple more facts that should be known about Mankato, Minnesota is that Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona all went for Trump in the 2016 election. So all of the states, except for the one I'm in right now, that are be featured this week, went for President Trump in 2016. This helped give him a narrow electoral college victory over Hillary Clinton. Now this year's, as of right now, and I know what you guys have to say about polls, trust me, I completely agree, but the polls do not have President Trump in the lead for these states. In fact, all 4 states that President Trump will be campaigning in this week have him below Joe Biden in the polls. This is why we would consider Minnesota a battleground state. I'm sure when I said that, some of you thought, what is she talking about? But with such a narrow margin of victory for Hillary Clinton in Minnesota in 2016 with a 1.5% lead over President Trump, I think it's safe to say that Minnesota is really just tugging into battleground state potential. To read the polls a little bit so you guys have a little bit more of an idea about what we're looking at, Real Clear Politics website, which averages a series of recent state polls, gives Biden leads over Trump in all 4 of the states that President Trump plans to visit. Minnesota has President Trump losing by 7%. Wisconsin has President Trump losing by 6.5%. Pennsylvania by 6.4%, and Arizona 2%. Now these are all, should be noted that these are all within the margin of error. And if we know polls for President Trump, they tend to be on the side of error. So we can take all of those with a grain of salt. However, I don't see how Minnesota would go from 1.5 in 2016 to 7% in 2020. There is a lot of civil unrest and regarding Minnesota, especially Minneapolis, and President Trump is expected to speak on that later today as well. I am going to hop on over into the YouTube comments to answer any questions you guys might have. Sorry, I'm looking around, looking at people that we might want to interview later today. It's hard. We actually are a team of just 2 people, so it's the reporter and the cameraman. We don't have any other reporters or camera assistants, anything today. So in order for us to get interviews, I'm going to have to look, make eye contact, prep some questions in my head while I'm talking to you guys, and it's a little difficult, but hopefully we can pull some out before President Trump takes the stage today. So if you see me looking off or anything like that, I'm most likely multitasking with about 5 different thoughts running through my head. So to go back to the one I just had, I would love to jump over to the YouTube Super Chat right now. So I am going to be looking down at my phone, and I want to answer any questions that y'all might have about what's going on here today. Like I said, it is completely different. These are remarks. Each state is going to have a different themed speech based on what President Trump thinks that state really needs to hear, needs to learn about. And overall, it seems that he's not necessarily working on undecided voters. However, President Trump is really just working on getting out and energizing his base. He wants to make sure he's got his voters. That's evident. If you drive anywhere in this country, you don't see Biden hats, you don't see Biden yard signs, anything like that. Biden billboards, I've literally never seen one. You see Trump 2020, and I see it everywhere I go. So it's that silent majority that we need to make sure is just silent no more. It is time. He has a proven track record after 4 years of working incredibly hard for the American people, just literally never sleeping, being an A-plus president, one of the best presidents in history of the United States. He speaks for himself. There is no reason to be ashamed to stand up and say, I support President Trump, because if anyone comes at you with an insane narrative that, goes with the MSM, the mainstream media's tactics or their narratives, you can use facts, simple facts, to back up where you stand now. So I'm proud to be standing here today, proud to say I support President Trump, and we are really working towards a landslide victory here in 2020. We could not be doing this today without Right Side Broadcast Network. So if you're unfamiliar with Right Side, you want to know a little bit more about us and how you can support us, Please note, we are almost entirely viewer funded, so we don't rely on any large corporate investors, anything like that, because we want to be able to show you President Trump's speeches. We don't cut out on those. Trust me, when he's on stage, I am not up here. You don't have to listen to me, any commentary, no commercial breaks. That's one of our favorite things. And if you're a large network or anything like that, you cut to commercial breaks, or you think, yeah, we shouldn't even air this, it's not worthy of airtime. We disagree. We think President Trump and his message deserves to be heard by millions, not just this country, but the entire world, and that's what we have done since the 2016 presidential election. So we get out to his rallies, these speeches, these remarks, and we make sure that you guys can see them live, especially during COVID when the guest list is going to be so constricted. More than 100 people are in Minnesota. This gives the Minnesotans a way to see what the president has to say about their state. It is so important. A way to get them energized to get out and vote come this November. It's now more important than ever, especially that we have Democratic Socialist nominees running for the highest political office in the world. So you can donate to Right Side Broadcasting a number of ways. We use these donations to travel from state to state, have our equipment. Our cameraman, he's wonderful, but a lot of this money goes towards travel, food, of course the cost of our labor and media equipment. It's so hard fighting against the mainstream media and their millions of dollars from leftist donors. So a couple of the ways, one of the best ways you can donate is by going to our website. That's www.rsbnetwork.com/donate. Again, our website, that's www.rsbnetwork.com/donate. It'll take you through PayPal, so we get to keep the majority of those proceeds. A really easy, tried, true, and trusted source. If you do decide to use that option, then you have the opportunity to leave a message, which I will be reading out loud. So once I take your YouTube comments, I will then be going into the email, and I can read all donations that are sent forward. So I will be doing that. If you have a shout out to your friends, your family, your leftist cousin, or even say you're a real estate agent and you want to reach, do some marketing for your small business, let's do it. We believe in small businesses. We want to support you. So get those donations rolling in. I will be reading the messages later. You can also donate via YouTube. If you're not utilizing the YouTube Super Chat or the live chat, I absolutely encourage you to do so. It's a lot of fun. It is where I'm about to jump into once I knock a bunch of these things off my bucket list that have to be said. So if you just need to be logged in, you can create a basic YouTube account. It's completely free. And live chat, it's like a chat room. You can type whatever you want. Please keep it family friendly, PG-13. And it's a lot of fun. We get to interact. So if you see me looking at my phone, I'm either reading news articles to share with you guys that are hot topics, or I am reading the YouTube Super Chat, interacting with you guys. A third way is by sending a check. You can send a check. This is the only non-electronic form of donating, and you can make that check to 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, Auburn, Alabama 36830. Moderators, thank you so much for all your help today. If you don't mind dropping some of those links down below and the address to help some of our viewers out. Let's get those donations rolling in. We have a huge week ahead, an expensive week ahead. Unfortunately, we don't get to hop in on Air Force One. We have a lot of driving. That's rental cars, planes, multiple layovers, but we're excited to get there. We have packed our suitcases full of stuff, and we're ready to bring you this big week of campaigning. We don't know what's going to happen, you guys. This might be the biggest week we have when it comes to campaigning physically, so non-virtually, before the 2020 presidential election. Let's make sure that we are getting this stream out to as many millions of people as we possibly can. Let's show you that President Trump is not afraid to get out and be amongst his supporters or fellow Americans, while Democratic nominee Joe Biden is sitting in his basement going virtually live to accept the DNC's nomination. I mean, it's ridiculous. You'd think he'd at least be able to show up to Milwaukee, even if it's just him and 10 people. Look at this. This is a completely fine event. It's President Trump, some of his supporters. They're following a lot of the guidelines, social distancing, different chairs are set up. It's not like a typical rally. I don't see why Joe Biden can't do that, unless, of course, they just... Actually, no, I do understand why they don't want Joe Biden showing up, because he's a complete loon, and you really need to monitor everything he says and does. But here we are. All right, with all that being said, I think I covered most of it. Again, we are non-scripted, so this is all just tidbits of information I want to get out to you guys. We are going to hop in to the YouTube Super Chat. Looks like we already have some donations in here, so I'd love to read those. Again, thank you guys for donating. We have $9.99 from Vonda Gall, $20 from Stephanie Sprague. Oh, she said, can someone drop the Disney link? So moderators, again, thank you so much for being here today. If you don't mind dropping the Disney Coins link. Disney Coins has really helped us tremendously over the past few years when the donations don't quite add up like we need them to be able to get to location to location. Disney helps us out. They help us get from one rally to another. They are just a tremendous company, conservative values all the way. They do give 10% of their profits to other conservative venues and whatnot. So it's a great way to support another conservative company. Stringfield Ridge Farm sent $10 and said thank you for the truth. All right, guys, we're going to do a quick camera lens wipe down, so I'm going to step to the side and I'll talk to you from here. So if you see that happening, don't worry about it. Again, thank you for $10, Stringfield Ridge Farm. I'd love to know what type of agriculture or produce you have on your farm. Let me know. And we have a new member, so Rob Troller, thank you for joining us and becoming a new member. Hopefully our screen looks a little bit clearer. Gladys Kravitz Jr. said, Liz, we've missed you. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how excited I am to be back. I've missed you guys too. So I do want to apologize. A little bit earlier, we were late, about an hour late, and that's because we were not able to pull any network signal from outside. So a lot of these things, these events, it's almost impossible to even use a cell phone because they do use signal blockers. It's just a way of, I guess, Secret Service, private service, blocking certain things from happening. I don't know what I'm allowed to say and whatnot, but it is difficult to get service out sometimes, signal. So we're inside now. Things are going great. We did want to bring you interviews from the line. That's one of my favorite things to do. However, we could not get our network to work out there. So I did post a few photos if you'd like to check those out of the line. See if you want to look at a couple, like what type of people are here today and what type of people are waiting in line 2 hours before they're even being allowed to come in. You can go to our Twitter accounts. That's at RSB Network. Again, at RSB Network, or my personal Twitter account. It's at Liz Willis _. That's LIZWILLIS. We post and retweet a lot of the same things, so follow both of us on there, and you'll get to see some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Thank you, MP. I am reading right now some of the, of course, Deplorable D, thank you so much. She said, don't forget the Disney RSBN code. So put RSBN in the coupon box for a discount at checkout. Absolutely. You guys, those are really great items to have. And off the record, go ahead and order them right now because, as you know, things, supply and demand right now, it's really tricky to get a lot of stuff in, whether it be the raw materials or people coming into work, everything. I mean, furniture, there's so many things that are just hard to get right now. So go ahead and order what they have left while they still have it. Of course, they are going to be working with suppliers to get more products in, but you guys don't want to wait until it's too late. Who knows what's going to happen? So just make sure you get all the cool things you want right now. Order up and use code RSBN at checkout for money off. RSBN Moderator 13, thanks for joining us today. Yes, I'm Liz Willis, and I will be our veteran correspondent covering today's event, as you said. All right. We lost an ear pod. It's fine. We're going to keep moving. Light Switch, great to see you in here today. Well played, Brian Kelso from California. So many of y'all. It's so great to be back. $50 from Bonnie Wilson. President Trump 2020 will win again. Bonnie, it's great to see you, and thank you so much for your donation. This is really promising. Hopefully this is a good week. I'm not going to lie, RSBN, we normally go to rallies. These are technically remarks, so we're nervous whether or not, this is going to be as big as we want it to be. So please consider donating, making sure that this is a profitable trip so that we can continue to spread what President Trump has to say. Daywalker 5 donated $20, said, love you guys, In's family for Trump. We have $100 from Leslie Waits, who said we must win, all caps. So thank you so much. Mike Watts, hello. $19.99 from Ferdinand Muniz. Really, you guys are already killing it. $20 from the Conservatics from Chris. Thank you so much. Liz Willis is the best. Jillian, thank you so much. So I'm going to catch up on some of these. It looks like I'm mostly caught up. We have a few new members. Stringfield Ridge Farm joined us. Rented Identity. Tommy, thank you so much, all of y'all, for joining us. All right. Perfect. I've caught up on those. We have 6.5 thousand watching us. We are 1 hour short of President Trump coming to take the stage to give his remarks on Joe Biden's failures on jobs and the economy here in Mankato, Minnesota. This will begin at 2 p.m. We will bring you live coverage from here until now. You don't have to find a new stream. We've got it all for you, and we're so excited to bring you that on behalf of Right Side Broadcasting Network. President Trump is scheduled to speak for about an hour, we're assuming. He will be replaning Air Force One at 3:20 p.m. He will be taking off to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, where he is scheduled to give a second speech at 4:30 p.m. Central Time in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So you can expect RSBN to have that stream for you as well today. So it is a full day of President Trump events. We're so excited to be able to be in both places essentially at once and to bring you all things President Trump and the Trump campaign. If you have any questions, please tag me. I'm happy to answer them about what today's event is. Yeah, mostly what it is. It's not a rally, which is a first for us, but what you can expect for the next week. Again, today is Monday, so this is the first day of the Democratic National Convention. And I think President Trump's making a really smart move by taking the eyes off the DNC, which has gone 100% virtual. It was supposed to be in Milwaukee, and it was scheduled to bring about 50,000 people into the city. However, at this point, that will not be happening. And instead, Biden won't be leaving his basement, but President Trump will be leaving the White House. He has 4 stops today. 4 stops this week, 4 campaign stops in potential battleground states, Minnesota being the first one. This is the only state that he is campaigning in this week that he actually did lose in 2016. President Trump lost this by a very narrow margin of 1.5% to Hillary Clinton. Since then, President Trump has noted several times that he's going to be focusing on Minnesota and making sure that he brings that to a red state come the 2020 presidential election. The next states this week will be later today in Wisconsin. Tomorrow will be in Yuma, Arizona. That speech will be focusing on immigration and border security. And finally, on Thursday, we will be in Old Forge, Pennsylvania, really close to Scarborough, I believe that's how you pronounce it, which is actually the hometown birthplace of Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden. President Trump will give his speech hours before Joe Biden is scheduled to give his acceptance speech at the DNC, again, 100% virtual. So, kind of funny there that President Trump will be there live in person, but Joe Biden's too scared to leave his basement, so on one of, if not the biggest day of his life. So let that be noted. BB Real, thank you. I'm so happy to be here too. Billy Metosh, happy to be here. Roger Hammer, thank you for your donation. We see some love from Ireland, a $5 donation from Hannah Sander, and greetings from Austria. Well, hello, Mario. That's awesome. James Steckel, great to see you in here. And we want to say a big thank you to Mod Mom for always making sure the chat room is fun, clean, and family friendly. Burbank Junction donated $20 to Right Side Broadcasting. All right, we're checking up on these. As soon as I'm done reading these donations, I'm going to hop back into the email. And so if any of you have given website donations at www.rsbnetwork.com/donate, I'll be able to read those donations as well. Bliss Girl donated $45 and said, New Englanders for Trump, RSBN rocks. Oh, absolutely love New England. I had no idea how much I did until I was in New Hampshire. Looks like we are beginning the program. Excuse me.
Please give a warm welcome to Listen.
May we bow our heads, please? Our Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your mercy, your blessings, and your grace for us, our families, and our country. We ask you and we pray for endurance because according to your words, endurance produces courage, and courage produces hope. Hope for our health, hope for our livelihood, hope for our common humanity. We ask that you give our leaders wisdom, knowledge, understanding, courage, and an unselfish commitment to ourselves and our country. We ask that you bless President Trump, his wife Melania, and his staff and his family. We have faith that you would do this, O Lord, because all power is in your hands. We have faith in America that it will continue to be the shining city on the hill. We have faith in America that it will continue to be a country of the people, by the people, and for the people. We have faith in America that we will remain one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. These things we pray in your name, amen.
Leading us in today's Pledge of Allegiance to our great American flag, please welcome Tyler Kistner.
All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, as a Marine Special Forces veteran, there's only one thing I was told to ever bow to and get on a knee for, and that was God. So we all stand up here because we know what sacrifices have been made for that flag and what it represents, and the great president who continues to fight day in and day out to keep this country great. So let's give a pledge to the flag and the Constitution that makes this country what it is. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless.
by Grace Schulte.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so paled at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We are live in Mankato, Minnesota, where President Trump is expected to take the stage in about 45 minutes. He's scheduled to begin speaking at 2 p.m. Central Time and will be giving remarks on Joe Biden's failures on jobs and the economy. President Trump is expected to hit 4 battleground states this week as the Democratic National Convention is taking off. Today is actually the first day of the DNC, and instead of bringing 50,000 people to boost the Milwaukee economy, they have decided to take the DNC completely 100% virtual. So we are here today. President Trump is going to be scattering really across the United States. Today is the first stop of 4 campaign speeches. Today's is in Mankato, Minnesota. This evening's will be at 4:30 p.m. in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Tomorrow's will be in the afternoon in Yuma, Arizona. We will be traveling Wednesday, and on Thursday we will be in Old Forge, Pennsylvania, very close to Scarborough, Pennsylvania, which is Joe Biden's hometown. So I think there's definitely some tactics in there when it comes to really kicking it to the DNC for canceling theirs. I'm going to hop into the super chat in just a moment, so if you have any questions, feel free to send them my way. Make sure you tag Liz Willis, and it'll grab my attention. I will be able to read those. Just a few things first to kind of explain what we're doing here and why we're in Minnesota. Again, this is the first tourist stop of the week. This is Mankato, Minnesota, where President Trump will be focused on jobs and the economy. President Trump is campaigning for re-election here today as he starts his tour of battleground states. This is the same day that Democrats kick off their national convention. This is also the first presidential visit to Mankato, Minnesota since George Bush in 2004 for his re-election campaign. Good, how are you?
How are you? Where's the right side?
We're RSBN. We are known for live streaming President Trump's rallies. Would you like to do an interview?
Cool. Sure, yeah.
All right.
Jason Lewis, U.S. Senate candidate.
Very cool. I know everyone else was grabbing you earlier, so I kind of let you run. We're actually completely live, so we're YouTube-based. If you'd like to reintroduce yourself and where you are, I'll show you this really quick so you're more comfortable. A lot of us are watching on YouTube right now. And we do all of President Trump's rallies. So right now we have, let's see here.
Nice.
Let's see.
And it's a
right.
YouTube channel. Okay.
YouTube, it's also online, a lot of different places. But so far right now, just on YouTube, 10,000 are watching. So do you mind just reintroducing yourself, a little bit about your political history and what you're doing here today in Mankato, Minnesota?
You bet. Well, it's great to be here in Minnesota, right? Welcome. I am Jason Lewis, the United States Senate candidate here in Minnesota to unseat the uber-liberal Tina Smith, Al Franken's replacement. But I can welcome you because I used to be in broadcasting for some 25 years, long before I got into Congress. I served in the House of Representatives during the first 2 years of the president's administration when we were actually doing things. We tried to warn people about 2018, but now they're seeing it for themselves. Radicals in the street, mobs, nothing but impeachment and investigation. So we got to get back to the America we all know and love, where you have the rule of law and economic growth. And that's why I'm running for the United States Senate in Minnesota.
How do you think your chances are? What's it looking like? And what has been the plan of your campaign? I mean, there's a lot of, I'd say, wrenches being thrown into the battle right now for all campaigns across the board. This is totally different than any typical rally we're used to seeing for the president's campaign. How has coronavirus affected your campaign?
Look, the Democratic left and their mobs in the street are deliberately using the coronavirus or a public health challenge for a political gain. They're trying to get the country afraid, to feel like they're on the wrong track. But more importantly, they're trying to make certain it stays locked down, to make it more difficult to vote, more difficult to get out and campaign. So my opponent, Tina Smith, who endorsed Ilhan Omar the other day, wants to say hunker down with Joe Biden and just raise money and then drop an October ad buy. That's not fair to Minnesotans. I'm running to represent the forgotten man and woman in greater Minnesota and in the suburbs, and they want a candidate who shares their values. Tina Smith is not it.
So Minnesota won for President Hillary Clinton by about 1.5% in 2016. That is a really thin margin. Do you consider Minnesota to be a battleground state that President Trump could potentially flip red in the 2020 presidential election, and why?
Don't take my word for it. Emerson College poll just came out, had a statistically dead heat between myself and Tina Smith and the President Joe Biden. Trafalgar poll had it within 5. Morning Consult within 3. So this is definitely in play. Look, when all these other polls go out and just poll registered voters, Minnesota doesn't have registration. You have to poll likely voters. And when you do that, Minnesota is in play. We're going to turn Minnesota red, and I'm going to be the next Republican senator from our great state.
Cannot wait to see that happen. I'm excited to be here. How would you describe Minnesota for people from around the country that haven't been able to visit this state so far? A lot of people are being locked in their houses. They're not working right now, so they're tuning in online. How would you describe Minnesota to those who are just curious about kind of what it's like, what the economy is doing right now, and what type of changes need to happen? Why this election is just so important?
Well, you got a little McCartney in the wings in background here. It's live and let live. That's the Minnesota philosophy. People just want to be left alone. They don't want to be hunkered down. They don't want their kids out of school. They want to be able to go to church or go to the gun range in greater Minnesota. And when you're exploiting this public health challenge to literally take away the Bill of Rights, there is no pandemic exception to the Bill of Rights, and people are seeing this. Then you add the defund the police movement and mobs literally threatening people. And 1,500 buildings destroyed, $500 million damage. People realize we're on the wrong track with liberal Democrats like Tina Smith and Joe Biden, and that's what they're ready to vote for in November, a change.
Do you think the unrest in Minneapolis and really across the rest of the United States following George Floyd's death, as well as the Black Lives Matter movement, will have an effect on the outcome of these elections?
100%. Look, I authored the juvenile justice bill. We were moving towards criminal justice reform, but nobody wants to defund the police. Nobody wants the end of the rule of law or the end of public order. And they are literally campaigning to their base on chaos in the streets. If you don't conform, we will make you conform. It is mob rule. And that is antithetical to everything we believe in the American experiment, antithetical to that little piece of paper that stands between us and tyranny, the Constitution. That's the oath we take, and I intend to do it in January.
Well, good luck. Is there any website or a way that our followers can follow your journey and support you on your future victory?
You got it. Hey, man, Minnesota is going to be flipped red this fall. Go to lewisformn.com. That's LEWISFORMN.com and help us keep the Senate. It's the last firewall of freedom.
Thank you so much for your time today, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know which one nowadays. Thank you, John. Good luck. All right, a great interview. Really nice of him to step over and just grab it. As you can tell, we are completely live. Nothing is scripted, so we want to be able to bring you everything uninterrupted. Yeah, 1 second. I am going to mute myself for a moment, and I'll be right back.
Welcome back. The RSBN studio here in Auburn, Alabama. We're waiting President Trump's arrival here in Mankato, Minnesota. We also have a camera operator in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and he'll be live shortly with his camera feed. So we will go to him for just a second. As soon as that feed becomes available to us, we are at both events. We're going to be at every event this week, thanks to your support. You're the ones that get us to these events. We are almost 100% viewer supported, and we can't do it without you. Rallies were gone for a very long time, and this isn't technically a rally, but it's been a long time since we've been on the campaign trail because of the China virus, and so it's so refreshing to actually be back. This is what we do. This is us. A little rusty today, but we are getting the job done, and this is us in our natural element. This is what we do. We were built for this, and this is why we exist. And it's only because of your support we can continue to do it. So thank you again for the donations. Back to Liz.
All right, welcome back. Again, I'm Liz Willis. We might have a couple more interviewees coming up to us throughout the duration of this broadcast leading up to President Trump taking the stage. So we're excited for that to happen. If anyone comes up and joins me, make sure that we welcome them and support them, show them that Right Side Broadcast Network is a family, and we're happy to have everyone here with us. Again, President Trump is scheduled to begin his speech in 30 minutes. We are live in Mankato, Minnesota. This is actually the home of my pillow man, Mike Lindell. So I've got my eyes, Air Force One. All right. Oh, I get chills every time. Absolutely love to see that happening. Did not know it was going to be right behind me at that moment. Ladies and gentlemen, Air Force One has touched down at 1:27 p.m. here at the North Star Aviation Hangar in Mankato, Minnesota. So we are 30 minutes shy of President Trump taking the stage. All right, so we had some interviewees set up, but President Trump beat us to them. So a lot of the people that were going to come up here are now going to see President Trump disembark Air Force One. I don't really blame them. So again, in the meantime, I'll be answering any questions that you may have. Don't forget that we are almost entirely viewer funded, so we do rely on your donations to get us from rally to rally or remarks to remarks, whatever you want to call this. We rely on your donations. We have 2 states to cover today. We have the blue team, which is Gage and I here today in Minnesota, and we have the red team, which will be covering President Trump's remarks at 4:30 p.m. Central Time in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So this is really a full day live feed of President Trump, his supporters, and the message he has to send out for his landslide victory of a 2020 presidential campaign. So far, this event has gone very smoothly. People are just happy to be outside, I think, smiling from ear to ear. There's a handful of masks and non-masks. The campaign is wearing masks at all times, so any staffers that are working directly for Trump for president have their masks on. And the chairs were...
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States has landed. Can everyone please take their seats? Everyone must be seated.
People are being asked to take their seats right now, so this is a little bit different than usual. Bear with me. Okay, looks like we have some time to talk. So again, almost entirely viewer funded. Please consider donating. You can go to our website, www.rsbnetwork.com/donate. You can also donate via our super chat. So that's the live chat on YouTube. Click the $ in the bottom right-hand corner. A third way is by sending a check. This is a non-electronic way. So if you don't want to use the internet to send your money, we don't blame you. You can send a check to 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, Auburn, Alabama 36830. We also want to say thank you to our partners today, Disney Coins. We could not be doing this without you. We're so thankful for your constant support and your love for President Trump as well as conservative organizations. Disney Coins is a very unique company using the highest qualities they can use to make really pieces of history, small little tokens of history, especially following the Trump administration. There are so many different unique coins with different designs, 2 new designs coming out every single month on their 2-ounce silver coins. They also have 4-ounce silver bars as well as Trump train desk sets, keychains. Keychains are my absolute favorite because I get to use them every single day. It's a great way of showing my support for President Trump and a great way for you to show the world that the silent majority is silent no more. Make sure that if you do decide to use purchase one of their, it's Mr. Senate candidate Lewis walking towards the front of the stage that we actually just had an interview with. So he's very popular amongst here. I've seen the crowd clapping for him multiple times. But like I was saying, if you do purchase from DisneyCoins.com, please use code RSBN for a discount at checkout. So Disney Coins, thank you so much. We'll also be doing, is that Randall Tom? Randall Tom, Front Row Joe, is up there at the front of the stage with my pillow guy, Mike Lindell, is one of our Front Row Joes. This makes it feel like even more of a rally right now. I'm just letting it all sink in, enjoying this. No, this is so cool. You also have Air Force One kind of creeping up in the back. On board of that, I know, is Hope Hicks. I believe she will be on it, as well as Kaylee McEnany. It'll be wonderful to see her again in a different setting this time, as well as President Trump. So there are some really cool people riding in on Air Force One today. Excited to see that. We're going to have a beautiful shot coming to you just within seconds. Make sure you're tuning in. You don't want to go anywhere. AF1 is rolling right now on the tarmac, pulling up. Looks like they'll be going down, turning around, coming back, and stopping. What a sight for sore eyes right now. Bear with me while I take a photo, because I never get tired of this view. All right, thank you guys. That's beautiful. I love it. Thank you for tuning in. Again, we have President Trump, who will be speaking in 30 minutes. Everyone has been asked to take their seats, so things are getting pretty organized. I'm trying to identify some of the familiar faces in the audience. We have, of course, Senate candidate Lewis, MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell. We have the chairwoman of the Minnesota GOP. Her name is Jennifer Carnahan. She is sitting down. She just sat down. Hope we were going to grab an interview with her, but we ran out of time. So some really great people here in Minnesota, and these are just really incredibly intelligent, educated people that are here to support President Trump, and they just seem so happy, happier than anything I've seen in a long time. I don't know if it's just to be out in this environment, to see President Trump come out and speak to them on such a personal, intimate level, but it really is a beautiful day here. I'll get the weather numbers so you know just how beautiful it is. It's 75 degrees and sunny, the perfect day for a campaign-style remarks. I'm trying not to use the word rally again. I'm going to jump on over to my email. Again, Minnesota would definitely, I'd say, be considered a battleground state for the 2020 presidential election. This is a very energetic crowd that I feel on the ground today, and it tells the whole story. Folks seem ready to ditch the socialism and the lawlessness that are embraced by the Democratic Party. This is not your mother's or father's party. Minnesota is going red. These are really popular statements that I am seeing absolutely everywhere today, and seeing the crowd size come out, the energy on the ground here today, the smiles, the red hats, as well as the amount of press that are at today's event. It really has something to say for the state of Minnesota. Minnesota has gone through a lot this year alone, and if it can flip from blue to red in 2020, that will be a very telling sign. I think between New Mexico and Minnesota, this will be my two states to watch for the 2020 election. I think New Mexico, based on what I'd seen at rallies, can flip as well, so I'm excited to see if that happens. When it comes to the COVID-19, President real Donald Trump has delivered for Minnesota over 2.4 million N95 masks, 1.1 million surgical and procedural masks, 90,000 eye and face shields, 240,000 isolation and surgical gowns, and 1.3 million medical gloves. These stats were posted by the press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany. Air Force One has landed, stopped, braked. I really don't know the technical word for that, but I'm trying to give you guys some great facts as well as being starstruck, because President Trump is about to step off Air Force One, and I swear this view never gets old. It's such an honor to be able to be here on behalf of Right Side Broadcasting Network, and to be able to stand here on the media risers and talk to tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, millions of people about what President Trump has done and how you can get up, get out, and vote and support him for re-election in November of 2020. I get very humbled every time this happens, the moment before I see President Trump. The president's campaign is going to highlight today Joe Biden's failures on jobs and the economy during both of his two airport events. Trump came within 1.5 percentage points of carrying Minnesota in 2016 and has made winning the state a priority this year. He won Wisconsin by less than a percentage point in 2016, and polls are showing another tight race this year. Following Trump's visit to Oshkosh on Monday, Vice President Mike Pence is slated to appear in the small Wisconsin village of Darien near the Illinois border on Wednesday. Milwaukee was supposed to host more than 50,000 people for the convention, but due to the coronavirus pandemic, it turned into a virtual event with Biden and other speakers not traveling physically, but they will be there virtually. It should be also noted that President Donald Trump won every county in south central Minnesota in the 2016 presidential election. This campaign stop today is in the region as well, and Monday is the first. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the official White House. No, those will be military rankings coming off first. I need better vision. Everyone watching back home that can use 1080p 4K zoom on our camera can see this better than I can right now. It looks like the press pool is now disembarking Air Force One. We see cameras, boom mics, all of it. Getting ready. The front door of Air Force One is open. To the left is where you will see President Trump come out shortly. Right now, the back of the plane where the White House press pool is seated is disembarking first. They'll run over here, get situated, take their spots. But we are excited to be here again. Don't forget to donate to Right Side Broadcasting Network. We are almost entirely viewer funded, meaning we rely on your donations to going from event to event to showcase the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, what President Trump has to say. I think our network is now more important than ever, because President Trump and the campaign are unable to have the rallies that he's used to with tens of thousands of patriots and supporters standing to see him. They're having to follow different guidelines. They want to be safer and smarter and really not give the mainstream media anything to cry about. So they're having much more intimate, smaller gatherings. Remarks is what they're being called. Less people can be here in person, so it's important to continue to engage viewers online. This is something that the Trump campaign has really been succeeding in so far. It's been a completely different campaign style tactics than anything anyone's ever had to use before, but I think they've really been nailing it. I'm going to read you some fun facts regarding the Trump campaign. This is the 20th week in a row that the Trump 2020 campaign's online broadcast each received more than 1 million unique views across all platforms. This coming week, the Trump 2020 campaign will be on the air and on the road, making sure all Americans across the country get the truth out about the real Joe Biden. This is the mission behind these stops. They want to know exactly who the DNC is endorsing to run as the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. Now, in addition to the regularly scheduled broadcasting, Team Trump will be live from headquarters every night of the Democratic convention. Democrats won't be honest about Biden at their convention, so Trump campaign will be: Joe Biden will raise taxes by $4 trillion. He wants to give work permits to illegal aliens so they can compete for American jobs, and impose the job-killing Green New Deal on every single person in this country. Absolutely ridiculous. You guys help us get this message out. The speech President Trump is about to give on the truth behind Joe Biden. America needs to go. This is one of the last chances to really save this country from this socialist, democratic, I can't think of a word that I can use right now appropriately for what exactly Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will provide as president and vice president of this country, but it's absolutely unnecessary for them to have such office. So help us get these broadcasts sent out. Whether or not you can donate to us financially, it is completely free for you to like this stream, give it a big thumbs up, comment, help us break these algorithms from big tech, and help us to share this stream, make it pop up on other people's pages. Make sure that you're copying and pasting and sharing the stream with all your family members, friends, anyone you can think of. I believe Hope Hicks is taking her seat right now. She's over to my left in front of a black beast in a mint green dress, looking beautiful as always. They have decorated the area today here at the hangar with different types of agricultural and farming tools, some different types of tractors, a massive USA flag dangling to our right corner with signs that read jobs, jobs, jobs. This is really telling of what President Trump is here to say about the state of Minnesota, that jobs need to continue to be able to be fulfilled, and not just fulfilled but desired We need to keep our economy going. We cannot continue to withhold these states from being able to function and have one of the best economies in history. Again, it's 1:41 p.m. I'm going to take a quick break. You know what? No, I'm not. I was going to try and sign in, but I'm just going to jump over to the YouTube Super Chat and read some donations. So if you'd like to get your donations in, right now I'll be in the Super Chat reading them. We have $100 from Leslie Waits, $100 from Leslie Waits again, 2020 from Lady Eagle 45, $20 from Alan Kendrick, said great to see you, Liz, so excited, thank you RSBN, $10 from June L, Trump train since day one, promises made, promises kept. Marion Diskin, $49.99, and 50 Canadian dollars from Yeshua Ad 21. I am going to read all of the donation-based websites messages at the conclusion of President Trump's speech today. So if you're worried that you've donated on our website and you haven't heard that yet, don't worry. I'm letting those collect, and I will be reading those immediately following President Trump's remarks today. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you don't go anywhere. We have $4.99. A new member, Robin Ann, thank you so much for joining us. We have 17,000 people watching live on YouTube alone right now, so thank you for joining us. Again, I'm Liz Willis with Right Side Broadcasting Network. We are live in Mankato, Minnesota, where President Trump is scheduled to give his remarks on Joe Biden's failure on jobs and the economy at 2 p.m. Central Time. So we are 17 minutes away from President Trump taking this stage and beginning his remarks. Air Force One is currently docked in front of us, as you can see. Press pool, military, and U.S. government officials have already disembarked Air Force One. We are awaiting President Trump to do so next. And we're excited to see that. I'm sure it's going to be as glorious as ever. He stands out big and tall and does a wave, a big smile. I believe President Trump will be very excited to be here today, finally in a campaign-style setting where he can be amongst his supporters, friends, family, and a lot of friends. Like I said, Mike Lindell and President Trump have been very close throughout the years. And Mike Lindell, or My Pillow Guy, is actually from Mankato, Minnesota, so this is going to be very special to him. But there are a lot of people here right now that are involved in politics whose political journey really aligns with President Trump's agenda as well. So I think President Trump will be very excited to be here in Minnesota, a state that he has said since 2016 he plans to flip. He has told his campaign to focus their eyes on it and to flip it red. It hasn't been red in a very long time. I believe 1976. Don't quote me on that. I'm pulling that name out of my head because I'm not looking at notes or anything right now. So it's been a while since Minnesota was red, but it was so close in 2016. Hillary Clinton won Minnesota by 1.5%. That is such a slim margin of victory for Hillary Clinton. It is very possible that President Trump can flip this state, and events like this where he's getting out and really just energizing his base, saying it's one thing to support me, it's another thing to get out and vote. Make sure you get out and vote come this November. That's what President Trump plans to do today. I'm going to hand the microphone back over to headquarters, so I'm going to toss it back really quickly, and you can hear from our CEO, Joe Seals.
All right, thank you so much, Liz, and thanks to everybody watching at home.
The 45th
Here we go.
President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every the American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Well, thank you very much, Minnesota. They were supposed to only have like 100 people. You know, we're supposed to have these tiny little crowds. You can't have any more than that. It's very heavily restricted. That's a lot of people showed up. I want to thank you. We'd love to have those rallies, but I guess you just can't do that, and you're not allowed to do that now, so we don't do that. But we do the little airport hops, and people like them, and a lot of people come back. But unfortunately, we had to hold off a lot of people in the back, which I feel badly about. In 78 days, we're going to be 78 days. We're going to win this state. We're going to take back the White House. And we're going to have an election that's all about the survival of our nation. This is a very important, in my opinion. I used to say 2016. And I must tell you, I think this is going to be the most important election in the history of our country. This is a very, very big deal going on. Joe Biden is the puppet of left-wing extremists trying to erase our borders, eliminate our police, indoctrinate our children, vilify our heroes, take away our energy. You know all about that. Take away our energy, if you can believe it. No fossil fuel. Destroy our Second Amendment, attack the right to life, and replace American freedom with left-wing fascism. Left-wing, we're going left-wing all the way. Fascists, they are fascists. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them, but they're getting closer and closer. We have to win this election. But the proud people of Minnesota will not let this happen. You will deliver a historic victory for our values, our citizens, and our treasured way of life. We'll save our cities and our suburbs from the future of crime and chaos, corruption, and economic collapse that puppet Joe Biden would unleash on America. This is a puppet. He won't do it intentionally. He just says, well, whatever they want, because he has no clue. He has no clue. I ended low-income housing being built in the suburbs and destroying people's American dream. You know that. If Biden and Harris get into power, they've pledged to raise your taxes by $4 trillion, which, put in very simple terms, mean many of you will have to pay double and triple the taxes that you're paying right now. This includes a tax of over $3,000 on a typical family of four. Biden-Harris also pledged to eliminate fracking, natural gas, oil, and coal production, forcing us to beg for energy from foreign suppliers. On my watch, America will proudly remain energy independent. First time, energy independent. We've made a lot of progress on energy. I want to thank your terrific representatives in Congress, Tom Emmer. Where's Tom? Tom. There he is. What a man. These are warriors. Jim Hagedorn. Pete Stauber. And this is a very important one, fellas. This is very important.
your next senator from Minnesota, a fantastic man. I just see that he's even in the poll. Normally that doesn't mean much, but that's a big step. And he's fantastic. Jason Lewis, he's going to be a fantastic senator. That's big, Jason. That's ahead of schedule. And I hear we're doing very well in the poll, too. We win Minnesota. It is over. It is over, right? We win Minnesota. But our great Republican candidates for Congress, Michelle Fishbach, where's Michelle? Michelle. I hear so many great things about you. I have heard so many great things. Go out and do it. You're going to do it. We're going to be out there working with you. Tyler Kistner. Tyler. Good luck, Tyler. This is a great group. And a man whose name I love, Lacey Johnson. Great job. I've been following you, Lacey. You're doing good. You're doing good. Thank you, Lacey, very much. We really have to get them, the warriors, all of them. All of them. We have to get them in because we have to stop this craziness that's going on. No law enforcement, no anything. They don't know what they're doing. They'll lose the country. You know, there was somebody said the other day, and I say it very strongly, sir, you're the only one between that and the greatness of the American dream. And there's truth to it. We don't stop. We don't keep this position. We're going to win the House. I feel confident we're going to win the House. We're going to win the House. I'm very much involved in every single race. And with the Senate, we're working very hard. I think we're going to be in great shape in the Senate. And I think we're in great. Did you see that CNN, they raised us 10 points in one poll that took place over a short period of time? And it's still not good enough. Still not good enough. You mean they're getting more honest? Because I'll tell you what, there's never been enthusiasm like we have. There's never been, including, right, Tom? Including in 2016, we had more enthusiasm than anyone's seen, maybe ever, in a presidential campaign, and it pales in comparison to what's going on right now. It does. Even this, we wanted to restrict the crowd. We didn't tell anybody, and look at what happens. But look at voters for Trump. Look at bikers for Trump. They have highways with thousands of people. Thousands of people, you know, bikers going. I don't know if I'm driving along and I get passed by 2,000 bikers. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then they set the Guinness Book, I hear, the world record yesterday for boats. But no matter where in Florida, no matter where you go, a river, a lake, an ocean, the boats are there by the thousands on the weekend. The weekend is unbelievable. Minnesota Senate Majority Leader, Paul Gazelka. Paul, thank you, Paul. Good job, Paul. Are we doing good? We're doing good, right? I think we are, too. And Minnesota House Republican Leader, another great one, Kurt Doubt. Kurt, thank you very much. Thank you, Kurt, very much. I'm having a lot of fun today because it's so windy you can't see these teleprompters at all. So I'm sort of making it up as I go along, and that's okay. I've had to do that plenty. Now these suckers are blowing like I'm saying, what the hell? Fortunately, I know these people. If I didn't know these people, you would have been in big trouble, I will tell you that. Another one I know very well, he's the single greatest ad buyer in the history of the world. And he also happens to make a very good product, his pillow. I use it. When I sleep well, I'm using his pillow. And these suckers are about to fall down, but that's okay because I know him very well. Mike Lindell. Mike, thank you. And he's the chairman of our campaign. If I don't win Minnesota with you as the chairman of our campaign, I would say that would be very bad for me because if this guy can do anything. Thank you, Mike. It's an honor, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you. You do a great job. Thank you. And it's all made in Minnesota, right? All made in Minnesota. Thank you very much, Mike. Before the China virus invaded our shores, we built the greatest economy in history. There was nothing like it. We were beating everybody, including China. They had the worst year In 67 years, we were taking in billions and billions and billions of dollars in tariffs. Beautiful thing, tariffs, when used properly, especially when you're being taken advantage of by every nation in the world. We achieved record low unemployment for African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, young people, people with diplomas, people without diplomas, college students, crummy students, great students, horrible students, dumb people, liberal people, conservative people. Everybody was doing the best they've ever done. PhDs from MIT, PhDs from crummy colleges. Everybody was doing the greatest, the best they've ever done. Median household income soared to the highest level ever recorded. Numbers were unbelievable to open new opportunities for Minnesota farmers and factory workers. We replaced the disaster known as NAFTA with the brand new USMCA, which has been a big hit. Dairy exports to Canada are now expected to surge by at least 50%. I know how good the deal is. Don't tell Canada I said this, because they were not happy about it. They had pickets. When they have pickets about a deal, that makes you feel good. But they've been taking advantage. You know, Canada, oh, Canada, wonderful song, right? Oh, Canada, nice song. Only one problem. They took advantage of us like crazy with your dairy tariffs, 297% tariff on your dairy products, right? I learned that when I came up here. They had specialty milk, a little thing, specialty milk, and I met a farmer, and he said what had happened with specialty milk, and that got me over the edge, and I said, we got to change this, because you were taken advantage of by Canada very badly, and by Mexico, and by China, and by Japan, and by friends and foe. And in many cases, friends were worse than the foe. For years, you watched as politicians like Sleepy Joe Biden, who's been in office for 47 years, allowed foreign nations to crush Minnesota's mining. Look at your mining industry. It was crushed by dumping tons and tons of cheap iron and steel into our country. I saw what was happening. I did something about it. I will tell you, China wants me to lose so badly. They all do. And yet I get along with all of them. Although China, I don't speak to them. After the plague came in, you know, we made a great deal with China. They announced last week that China ordered the largest amount of corn in history and the largest amount of soybeans in history, and big cattle purchases, one of the biggest that anybody has seen. And I said, see how smart they are? If they weren't smart, they would have stopped and we would have said, let's decouple. But by ordering so much, the farmers come to me, sir, we like this deal a lot. Please don't do anything irrational. How smart is China, right? The biggest corn order, they said the biggest corn order in history. So I have to say, but I tell you, my view has changed a lot. We made a great deal with China, but my view has changed a lot. USMCA is the biggest deal ever made, and that one is working out great between Canada and Mexico. And remember this, Minnesota, under the last administration, Minnesota Iron Range was wiped out. 7 plants were idled and more than 2,000 workers were laid off. Obama and Biden closed it down. Do you remember that? The finest iron ore in the world, they say. I don't know. What do I know? To me, it all looks the same. But they say it's the finest iron ore in the world. That's good enough for me. And what did I do? Almost immediately after getting into office, I heard about this disaster, just like Keystone Pipeline, just like so much else, Jason. And you'll be working on that with me in the beautiful halls of the Senate, and he's going to stay with us. He's not going to be one of those that gets elected. He's not going to be one of them that get elected and then he walks into those gorgeous buildings when they had those big, beautiful dollar bills, and they built marble columns, and it's so beautiful and so rich. He's not going to say, darling, we finally arrived. Now we can go with the majority. He's going to do what's right. He's going to do what's right. I know Jason. You need Jason. Get Jason elected, please. But they closed it up. And I was here, and a worker, I was making speeches before you had to stand 200 feet away from everybody, before you had to stand like 2 football fields away. And a worker came up to me with a group of his friends, and they were all crying, and they were tough. They never cried before in their life, maybe when they were babies, but I doubt it. They were all crying. He said, "Sir, you gave us back our life." He said that. I had that just recently in Maine. They took away 5,000 square miles. Think of a square mile, and then multiply it times 5,000. Took away 5,000 square miles. That was O'Biden, as I call him, O'Biden. That was Obama and Biden. Short. I like that term, O'Biden, because you save a lot of time. But that was Obama and Biden in Maine. Took away 5,000 square miles. You know what that is? That's like, I said, let me see what it looks like on a map. They basically took away the Atlantic Ocean from Maine. And Maine is the greatest in the world for lobster and the greatest in the world just about for fishing. I said, why did he take this area? They didn't know, except that was the great fishing area. And I gave it back to them. I redid it. I took it off. I wiped it out. I gave an executive order that wiped it out immediately. And then we wiped out the tariffs that they were being charged by China and by, as you know, the United Kingdom was charging tariffs. They were all charging tariffs to our fishermen, but we don't charge tariffs to them. So I made it fair. European Union was a disaster charging tariffs. They were charging big tariffs. We wouldn't. So here's what was happening. So Canada, they would sell the fish and lobster to Canada for nothing, for peanuts, and Canada would then sell it to China and also to the European Union, because Canada had a deal where they didn't have to pay the tariffs. This was before my time. How this could have happened is incredible. So I said, listen, if you don't change your tariffs, I'm going to put tariffs in your car. It was amazing. They said, we'll change them immediately. Thank you very much. That took about 2 minutes. So I did a lot for Maine. We're going to see whether or not they remember, but I think Maine's going to remember. But I did similar for you when I opened up your great iron ore. And I put tariffs. I put tariffs on foreign steel. And the Iron Range came roaring back to life. You know that, right? Right? But these guys came up to me, you've given us back our life. I've never forgotten that. You've given us back our life. They didn't say thanks. They didn't say thanks for the job. They said that's what they've done all their life. And Obama just came in and closed it up. I don't say Biden because I don't think he knows what the hell's happening. I think if you mention, you know, you shouldn't have done that to Minnesota, he'll say, where's Minnesota? I don't know anything else. I don't know what Minnesota is. Where is that, please? How many times, by the way, has he been up at a speech where he'll say the wrong state, right? He'll get up. It's great to be in the wonderful state of Ohio. Sir, you're in Florida. That's the bad one, you know, when you see palm trees. It's wonderful to be in Ohio. Or, I love being with the people from Iowa. Sir, you're in Idaho. And he always gets New Hampshire mixed up with Vermont. But all the time he does that. I haven't done it yet. If I do, I'm just leaving because there's no way you can save it, you know. There's no way you can save it. We recently issued a directive protecting workers on the Iron Range from unfair job-killing regulation and frivolous litigation, in addition to everything else. We started construction on the new Sulak, right? Sulak, big deal. That's been deteriorating for many years, just about gone, and we're redoing it now, rebuilding it. That's a big deal for your state and for others, so that the iron ore can quickly get to market, Sulak. Our miners are back on the job, and wages have increased by as much as 50%, and they're doing great. Even during the China plague, they're doing great. And the China plague will fade, but we will not forget. But if Biden wins, the Iron Range will be shut down forever. You know that. He'll shut it down very early on, forever. I took a lot of heat by doing that. I took a lot of heat from the so-called environmentalists. I'm an environmentalist, too, in a big sense. We just signed something the other day. Cory Gardner, Steve Daines, senators, great senators. And we signed a bill that's going to really be something incredible from an environmental standpoint, the biggest we've ever signed, they say, other than Teddy Roosevelt. It goes back to Teddy Roosevelt. I said, why isn't it bigger? Because we also did something tremendous for Utah. You know that? Thousands and thousands of acres. We opened it up. I said, why isn't it bigger than Teddy Roosevelt? I want bigger. Otherwise, I'm not signing it. They said, sir, he did the Grand Canyon and a few other things. I said, all right, that's pretty big. Grand Canyon is big. Do we agree? Even for Mike Lindell, the Grand Canyon. Even Mike would admit the Grand Canyon's tough to beat, right? So anyway, but we did. We signed it, and it's one of the biggest acts. They say the biggest thing environmentally done since Teddy Roosevelt. That's a long time ago. We achieved together, and what we're doing together is nothing short of an economic miracle, and now we're doing it again. We did it. We built the greatest economy in the history of the world, and now I have to do it again. You know what that is? That's right. That's God testing me. He said, you know, you did it once. And I said, did I do a great job, God? I'm the only one that could do it. He said, that you shouldn't say. Now we're going to have you do it again. I said, okay, I agree. You got me. But I did it once, and now I'm doing it again. And you see the kind of numbers that we're putting up. They're unbelievable. Best job numbers ever. 3 months, more jobs in the last 3 months than ever before. Best retail sales in history. Best car sales. Did you see where the car sales are actually above what they were? Did you see the manufacturing? You remember, you're not going to have manufacturing back. You needed a magic wand for manufacturing. Well, we got the magic wand because the manufacturing numbers are through the roof. And your state last year had the best year it ever had, right? Best year it ever had. And now you're going to have something that's even better. So I just want to tell you, we're going to do it again. By the way, third quarter numbers come out. And interestingly, they will come out just before November 1st. And we're going to see how I did. But I think you're going to have a great third quarter. People are now starting to predict it, much to their chagrin, right? Much to their chagrin. They're just like CNN said, he's up 10 points. They all said 10 points. 10 points. First of all, the first poll was rigged and wrong. It was a rigged poll. Just like they want to try and rig the election with all these mail-in ballots. Let's send out 62 million ballots. Let's send, well, you know, and some people say, gee, you shouldn't talk. I got to talk about it. Because absentee ballots are good. You send for the ballot, you're not going to be in your state, and you get it back, and you do something, and you send it back in, and it's a process. You have to work for it a little bit. But these ballots, they want to send them out in some states. They want to send them out, and they want to just have millions of ballots. They said, oh, we drop them in a lockbox. I just saw the great thing about Air Force One, there's no lack of television. You have televisions on the ceilings, in the closets, on the floors. No matter where you go, there's a television. You open the closet, there's a television. I say, no, too much Trump, I can't watch anymore. I try and get away. You put yourself in a closet. But they have a lot of stuff. And they showed this person getting on Fox. You know, Fox now puts on more Democrats just about than they do Republicans. They have certainly changed a lot. Fox has changed a lot. They're probably turning off right now as I speak, but I don't care. I tell the truth. It's ridiculous. One of the biggest differences between this year and 4 years ago is Fox. Fox is like from a different planet, and too bad. And you know what's going to happen? If we don't win, they're going to go down the tubes along with every other media outlet. They'll all be bust. They'll all be gone. I can tell you that. Nobody's going to want to cover Sleepy Joe. We'll end up with one very boring socialist country that'll go to hell. But when you look at it and when you look at what's happening, that's why we have to win this election. And if we don't win this election, every one of you, me, all of us, it'll never be the country. I don't think the country can ever come back to it. I used to use Venezuela a lot. You know, I don't know if I even really fully believed it, but I'd say Venezuela, we would indeed become, when I look at these maniacs in Portland, these anarchists in Portland, when I look at these people, that's what they want. for the rest of the country. They want to defund their police. They want to terminate their police. You know something about that. You've had your little stance where they want to. Did they actually they actually are terminating the police department, right? They are actually doing it. They're not even talking about it. They're terminating the police department. These people are crazy. And by the way, when I sent in the National Guard, that's when it all stopped. And I kept calling. And saying, send in the National Guard, send in the National Guard. They should have done it a lot sooner, right? And that was a beautiful, I just stopped someplace else and I said, to me it was a beautiful sight. They were riding all over, they full of vim and vigor. They thought nobody was going to stop them. The police department is very good, but they were told you can't do anything. They have to be able to do what they do very well. So they were told they couldn't do anything, and the city was ablaze. It was ablaze. I'll never forget the CNN reporter. He's standing there with his very nice shaved head. Right now, I wish I had a shaved head. It would be a good instead of the wind. But you know what? He's standing there, Velcher, right? Hallie Velcher. And he's standing there. Things seem quite calm right now. And behind him, they have the entire city. Looks like it's burning down for blocks. He's standing there talking because the fake news doesn't report the truth. And they don't talk about how serious it is and how bad it is. But remember this, it's only a small part of our country. It's not a big part, very small. But they don't report the facts because they don't want to report those facts, because those facts are very bad for Joe Biden and for the radical left. And they want them to win for whatever reason, I don't know, because they'll all lose their networks, they'll all lose their wealth, everything will be gone. But they'll figure it out someday, but we're not going to let them have that chance. As much as in many ways they should not be rewarded, they're going to be rewarded if I win, because our country is only going up in one direction. So that's the way it is. To fight the China virus, we've enacted the largest financial relief package in American history. Through the Paycheck Protection Program, we saved 1 million Minnesota jobs. We've also delivered nearly $5 billion in economic relief straight to Minnesota families. You know that. It kept it all going. And would like to do it again, except the Democrats, all they want is $1 trillion. $1 trillion. They're not interested in the people. They're not interested in the post office. It's all a ruse. It's all a con. They're only interested in getting $1 trillion. You guys know that. Getting $1 trillion for states that are badly run, blue states, very badly run by governors and mayors like New York, Illinois, California. I won't name any more because, to be honest, he's going to Minnesota. I don't know. I don't like to be so personal, but you do have some issues, I will say that. Of all places, I would be very surprised. I was very surprised. Unlike Sleepy Joe Biden, our approach to the pandemic is based on science, not left-wing ideology. Slow Joe opposed the travel ban on China that I instituted. He came out, oh, it's xenophobic. I said, what does that mean, Joe? Tell me, Joe, can you describe? Remember he came out, he called me all sorts of things, a racist and everything, and then he said I was right. I was early, way, way early. We would have lost hundreds of thousands of additional lives, and that's pretty much agreed by everybody. Then I put the ban on Europe coming in because they were ahead of us. And when I looked at Italy and I looked at France and Spain, I said, we got to put it on. And a lot of people didn't want that. They said we were right about that. And then we started getting into the manufacturing business with the ventilators and all of the equipment. And what we did is incredible. The governors were not prepared. We made a lot of governors look good by supplying massive amounts of equipment. Massive. Not one person in this country, we didn't have very many ventilators at all. Way undersupplied. Not one person in this country that needed a ventilator didn't get the ventilator. So every single person that needed one got one, which is pretty amazing. We have a big country with a lot of diversity, a lot of different states. And now we're making thousands of ventilators a month, and we're supplying them to the rest of the world because they're not equipped to make a ventilator. It's very complex, very expensive. We're making thousands a month. We have all we can use. Now Biden wants to lock all Americans in their basements for months on end. which would inflict permanent, irreversible harm on our nation's children, families, health, and economy. By contrast, my administration is following data-driven and science-based approaches that apply to common sense mitigation, aggressively sheltering those at greatest risk, our seniors, we have to shelter them, and delivers effective medical treatments to save thousands and thousands of lives. And when you look at the rest of the world, you know, they were trying to say, oh, we weren't doing. Now all of a sudden a lot of the places that they were using to hold up, they're having a big surge. They're having and I don't want that. I don't want that. But they were holding up names of countries, and now they're saying, whoops. In fact, even New Zealand, you see what's going on in New Zealand. They beat it. They beat it. It was like front page. They beat it because they wanted to show me something. The problem is big surge in New Zealand. So, you know, it's terrible. We don't want that. But this is an invisible enemy that should have never been let to come to this country, to Europe, or the rest of the world by China. Just remember it. Just remember it. That's right. The fatality rate for Americans over 70 has declined by 85% since April. We've learned, we have some great things now, too. Europe, by contrast, has experienced a 40% higher rate of excess mortality than the United States. Think about that. You don't hear those stories. They don't tell you that, Tom, do they? You don't hear that in Congress, right? We launched the largest mobilization of American goods since the World War II. Think of it, since World War II. This is the largest mobilization since World War II, creating the most advanced testing system in the world, producing thousands of ventilators and launching Operation Warp Speed to deliver and distribute a vaccine before the end of the year in record time. We're at a very, very close point to the vaccine and to therapeutics. And therapeutics, to me, are more important right now. You go into the hospital, whether it's a transfusion or whether it's a shot, and you feel better 2 days later or a day later or 3 days later, but that would be a great thing, and we're very close. We have great, great companies working on it because we will defeat the China virus. We're going to be stronger than we ever were. Next year is going to be record-setting numbers, and you see that when you look at the V. And the V is turning out to be true. You know, I was saying a V, and everybody was saying a V is impossible. But the V it's beyond a V. It's a super V based on the numbers that we have now. So we'll see what happens. And we would like to give additional money to people. We would like to. It wasn't their fault that they got hit by China. But you know what? We want to give them additional money, and we'll take care of, again, the post office has been a disaster for many, many decades. We want to strengthen the post office, make it good. It lost $78 billion over a relatively short number of years. $78 billion. I want to strengthen the post office, and we can do it. So that if you look, Amazon and all these companies that now do, it's a whole new business. They just drop a lot of it right into the post office, and we lose $2 and $3 every time we deliver a package. What's that all about? And he gets richer, and they get richer. How smart is that? For every package they deliver, it's $2 and $3 a package. So why aren't they raising the prices to Amazon and to these companies that are making all this money? Instead, we pay for it. And they always seem to open their distribution facilities right next to a post office. So they take a lot of the goods that they can't distribute because the post office is massive, much bigger than those companies. Believe it or not, you wouldn't think it, but much, much bigger. And they go to areas of Minnesota and other states that you can't reach, you'll never reach, and they just dump thousands of packages into the post office, and they say, good luck, here's your $2, here's your $1, here's your 52 cents. No, we got to do that. So that's my opinion. What do I know about delivery? What do I know? That's my opinion. That's a new business, but we have to, we're being taken advantage of by all of those companies. And they should pay, not the people. My administration also understands that economic health is vital to public health. Over the past 3 months, we've gained 9 million jobs nationwide, which is a new record. Retail spending is fully recovered and is now at an all-time high. We have more retail spending now than we did before the plague came in from China. Auto production surged 28%. Joe Biden would crush this unprecedented economic recovery during his 47 years in Washington. Think of that. 47 years. Joe Biden, and you know it's really amazing. For 47 years, he did nothing. Now he's telling everybody how he's going to make it wonderful, right? Doesn't work that way. And he's not exactly primetime now either, by the way. Joe Biden supported every globalist attack on the American worker. NAFTA, which was a disaster. TPP, which I didn't allow to happen. The horrible Korea deal. South China's entry into the World Trade Organization might have been the worst of them all. It created China. Now Biden is running on the most extreme far-left agenda ever put forward by a major party. Biden's joint manifesto, we call it a manifesto with Bernie Sanders, crazy Bernie, would raise taxes and increase regulations at an unprecedented rate. He will kill the stock market. He will kill everything that we're talking about today. He'd also abolish immigration enforcement, abolish bail, abolish the suburbs, abolish effective policing, abolish American energy, and abolish the American way of life. Otherwise, he'd do quite a good job, I think. He raised his hand and pledged to give free health care to illegal aliens, okay? A lot of you people, when you have a problem, you don't get free health care, but he wants to give it. He wants to give lawyers, free legal assistance to people that come into our country illegally. And his vice presidential candidate, Biden picked Kamala Harris. She's a beauty, who co-sponsored a $32 trillion socialist takeover of healthcare and our country, because our country would be ruined, destroyed. And the 33, think of this, you had 33 in healthcare and $93 trillion on the socialist Green New Deal, which doesn't work. It's like written by a child. It's written by a child, a foolish child. It's written by a foolish child. I have a very different vision for America's future, and you got to see it before the plague, but you're seeing it again right now, even more so. It starts with creating 10 million jobs in the next 10 months, and that's what's happening. Over the next 4 years, we will cut even more taxes substantially and regulations. That's why people are pouring into our country to open up factories. They're bringing them back to Minnesota and every place else. In Michigan, we have auto plants opening up left and right and expanding. They haven't seen that in 42 years. We will end our reliance on China. We will make our critical drugs and supplies right here in the United States. And you know, when you see the drug companies, they're very rich, very sophisticated. When you see them taking ads against Donald Trump, those ads are for one reason, because I'm bringing you drug prices way down. I instituted a favored nations clause. So if Germany or any place, anywhere in the world is getting their drugs for less, which they do, a tiny fraction of what we pay, they have to meet those prices. So instead of saying, somebody should have done this, Obama, Biden, anybody should have done, other presidents should have done this. Our drug prices are many times higher than other countries, many, many times. In Canada, the price is half and better than that. And I gave Florida, Ron DeSantis, a great governor, gave him the right to buy his drugs directly from Canada. He's going to save half. So everyone, you know, right now you can't do that. I gave him, and I gave another state, Colorado, the authority to go to, if they want, they could go buy prior to the favored nations kicking in. But the favored nations clause could reduce drugs by 50, 60, 70, even 80%. Think of that one. And I'm the only president in 51 years that had a year, last year, where drug prices came down, but that was peanut stuff compared to what I'm talking about. So when you see those ads, if you don't mind, and you see the drug companies hitting me, you'll say, thank you, President Trump, for reducing drug prices. I guarantee you, if they were going up, they wouldn't be taking ads. Makes sense, I guess, right? I hope people understand that, because they are spending a lot of money. They don't like me. I did something that was unthinkable. Check out the words favored nation. Check out the word rebate, because now I take the rebate for the people, and I take the rebate to reduce the prices. They took the rebate, went to a middleman. The middleman, I never heard the term middlewoman, but I guess probably that too. But the middleman got all this money, I don't know who they are. Nobody knows who they are. The middleman, you always hear it. They made more money than the drug companies. At least the drug companies made a product. But the middleman is not liking Donald Trump too much. I probably have a lot of friends that are middlemen. I don't even know it. They have beautiful homes. I say, I wonder where they made their money. They're very wealthy, but they're not so wealthy anymore. We are getting the rebates. We're keeping the money for our people. We will create tax credits for companies that bring jobs from China back to America, and we'll impose tariffs on companies that leave America to produce jobs overseas. One of the things in the USMCA that was very important, I don't want our companies going to Mexico, going to Canada anymore. I watched that. I was Man of the Year 11 years ago in Michigan. I don't know why, but they picked me. That was long before I thought in terms of running. Are we glad I ran? Think so. Think so. What do you think? Yes? I think so. But that was long before I thought about this, Mike. And I said, I was in Michigan, very nice, Man of the Year, that was great. And I said, they're taking your car companies, they're moving them all to Mexico. Anyway, 32% of our cars are made in Mexico. How crazy. But it's that way. That's the way it happened. But I said the most important deal in the USMCA, I don't want anybody moving to Mexico, firing their people, moving there, making a car, selling it in for no tax. I don't want that anymore. Can't happen. And that's not going to happen. There is such a huge economic disincentive to do that. So we'll strip federal contracts from companies that outsource critical industries. We're going to strip it. With the help of Minnesota workers, we will be the premier medical and pharmaceutical manufacturer anywhere in the world. And you see it already. The drug companies are starting to give up. Now, I'll tell you, if for some reason the other side happens to have a victory on November 3rd, forget everything I said. It'll all be made in China plus. It'll all be made in other countries like Vietnam and other places. And you can just forget everything I said, because they're typical politicians, but radical left-wing. They will go right back to it, but even more so. To protect our families and workers during the China pandemic, I sealed our border against illegal immigration and suspended the entry of foreign workers who threatened American jobs. And yet, if you're a farmer, a factory owner, and you had people coming in from years, we made it easier for those people to keep coming in. I can't shut them off. You'd have to close up your businesses. Joe Biden, on the other hand, has pledged to allow virtually unlimited immigration during a global pandemic, spreading the virus, overwhelming our healthcare system, and displacing millions of American job seekers. The Biden plan would institute catch and release, I got rid of it, along the entire southwest border. This is where you catch perhaps a murderer, perhaps a rapist. You catch somebody. You take their number and you release them. You say, please show up to court in 3 years. Nobody shows up. 1% show up. You know who the 1% are? The ones that are very smart. They're the ones that show up. They're the only ones that show up. So we built almost 300 miles of border wall, and we're adding 10 new miles each week. And if we didn't have that, we'd be in trouble because, sadly, and I think the president of Mexico is a friend of mine. He's a great guy, Lacey. He's a great guy like you. But I said to him, we have to do this. And you have to, in the meantime, you have to give us a lot of troops along our border because we're paying you a lot of money with your cars. And otherwise, I'm going to have to tariff. And he said, no, we will give you troops. We have 27,000 Mexican soldiers on our southern border. Nobody's coming through unless we want them to. We have to come in legally into our country on the southern border and elsewhere. You have to come in. We have 27,000 troops. You didn't even know that, Tom. 27,000. Furthermore, Joe Biden has pledged to increase refugee resettlement by, not a bad number, 700%. You read that, right? That's in the manifesto. He would overwhelm Minnesota with refugees from terror hotspots, depleting public services, burdening schools, and straining city budgets. You already know about the hotspots, don't you, huh? You know about it. You're having plenty of problems in Minnesota. But I'm going to be so politically correct, I'm not going to say a thing. But I know all about your hot spots. You got some hot spots. Very unfair to Minnesota, I will tell you that. And I'll tell you, if I don't win Minnesota, I'm never going to do it if I run for a third or fourth term, okay? I'll never be back if I run. I've given up. I almost won last time. One more speech, Mike. Why didn't you have... I almost won. I went to Michigan. I had a choice. I shouldn't tell you this, but we won Michigan. One more speech, I would have won. It was so close. But if I don't win it this time, I'm not coming back. Never. Not for term 3, 4, 5, or 6. Under my administration, we've dramatically reduced refugee resettlement, and we've suspended refugee resettlement during the pandemic. You know that. We've totally suspended it. Nobody comes in. Lucky we have the wall. We're up to 300 miles almost. If we didn't have that wall, we would be inundated with people. And, you know, unfortunately, and we're helping them. We sent them a lot of ventilators and other equipment. But Mexico's being overrun with the pandemic, and we would really have a problem. We've completely reformed refugee policy. We've instituted rigorous national security checks. We've protected religious minorities, and we've shifted refugee admissions away from terror-afflicted nations like Syria and Somalia. And remember, you know, they say we don't have, we do have, they understand that. They just don't want to say it. We have a ban, you know that. We have a ban on people coming into our country illegally. We have a ban on countries because we want people to come into our country who love our country, who can love our country, who respect our country, and who are going to come in on merit, which is the exact opposite of what was happening. Many of them hated our country, and they didn't come in on merit. All they do is complain. Do you know anybody like that? They just complain. Does anybody know anybody like that? Do you know anybody, one of your colleagues? You call her a colleague? All she does is complain. I won't mention the name because you'll never guess it. Complains. I don't like that. I don't like it. All she does is complain. Not good enough. Oh, really? Tell us about it. To protect our security, my administration instituted a travel ban on the world's most dangerous regions. Biden has pledged to immediately end this travel ban and allow unlimited migration from terror zones, including Syria, Somalia, Libya, Iran, and Yemen. Trouble. I also kept the promise I made to Minnesota 4 years ago. I signed an executive order requiring state and local consent before any refugees are admitted. Biden would immediately shred that executive order, overriding local communities like yours. You know that. Did you know I signed that? You have to give approval now. A little different than the old days, isn't it? Huh? A little bit different. The old days was a lot different. And I signed that approval. They have to go through a process now, and you have to approve it. Why should we send everybody up to Minnesota or any place else? In recent weeks, Democrat-controlled cities have shown that Democrats plan and what they plan for America. In Minneapolis, 700 buildings were burned, damaged, or destroyed, costing more than $1 billion. I just left. Incredible people. We were on a runway like this, and I introduced them. Their businesses were burned down, gone, and they don't know what they're going to do, but we're going to try helping them to get them rebuilt. But 5 groups of people that were just incredible people, successful, wonderful people. Their stores and businesses were burned down, destroyed. Dozens of business owners have announced they are considering moving hundreds of jobs out of Democrat-run Minneapolis. You know that. You know that. Criminals are terrorizing civilians in Chicago, Portland, and now New York City. This radical left Mayor de Blasio has let our beautiful diamond. I loved it. I left it 4 years ago. I could see there were the seeds of problems. He was there. But I left it, and it was wonderful. 4 years ago, I left it. And over the last year, and especially over the last 6 months, crime has gone up hundreds of percentage points, hundreds. 273 points, 368 points, numbers that you wouldn't believe. And we're talking about shootings, murders. You saw what happened this weekend. You saw that, Jason? Terrible. My city, I love that city. But it has great potential. And we're going to do something. We're going to do something strong. They've just let it go to hell. And I don't know, is it because they're bad people or they have no common sense or they just don't know what they're doing? But our beautiful diamond of this country has been let go to hell. Top Democrats have demanded the defunding of police departments. Biden even referred to the police as the enemy. And that's what it is. He's not going to control. Look, he's not going to control the situation. He's dealing with, how about the congresswoman that I watched over the weekend, right? Saying, I have total control over Biden. He'll do anything I say. I have total control. What she's saying is, I have total control over this jerk. He'll do whatever the hell I want. That's putting it in more common language. But she said it just as mean as that. You know who I'm talking about, right? You saw that? What a horrible statement to make. And frankly, Kamala, nobody treated Joe Biden worse than Kamala. I mean, nobody, he was called a racist and just about everything else under the book. Then all of a sudden she said, he's such a fine man. Look, nobody treated him, including Pocahontas, nobody on the debate stage, nobody treated Joe Biden worse than Kamala Harris. And she's got some big issues. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. I mean, I hear the boos. How the hell did she win the primary? How did she win the Lacey? What the hell happened, Lacey? Huh? It's Jason's fault. How the hell did she win? This woman is crazy. She's a horrible woman who hates our country. Yeah, mail-in vote. You might be right. We'll have to check that. Let's check the mail-in vote. Now, seriously, how does a woman who hates our country, who says nothing but bad things about our country and Israel and other of our allies, how does this woman win? Where are the people that would vote for her? Omar called the Minneapolis police a cancer and said they were rotten to the root. But Joe Biden did not condemn the comments. He didn't want to talk about it. He didn't disavow her endorsement. He displays it proudly on his website. This is what's going to be running the country. This is the biggest change between what happened between now and Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary was bad news, right? Remember she said, will you accept the results of the election? Will you accept the results of this election? And I sort of said, yeah, maybe, you know. But she didn't accept them, right? Will you accept it? I remember that question. It was probably the toughest question I had out of all of them. But she hasn't been exactly a gracious loser. She's a loser, but not a gracious one. If Joe Biden and the radical Dems, take power, they will pass legislation gutting every single police department in America. That's going to happen. The Biden-Bernie manifesto calls for appointing far-left prosecutors, judges, and justices of the United States Supreme Court. Look, you know, we have a big thing with the court. The next president has a chance to do 3, 4, could even be 5. You will change this country around. It will be irreversible. It will be irreversible. And they'll coddle criminals and punish law-abiding citizens, these judges will. They'll take away your guns while letting criminal gangs like MS-13 roam free. Your Second Amendment will, look, it was under siege, but not really, because they had never a chance, right, fellas? They didn't have, they played the game with, they had no chance. When I'm here, they have no chance. Your Second Amendment is cherished. You need your Second Amendment. They will either take it away or obliterate it into meaningless nothing. In Joe Biden's America, the protections of American citizenship will be stripped away, and your community will be left at the mercy of the mob. I mean, I'm saying these things, but I mean them. When I look at what happened in Minneapolis, when you look at what's going on in different cities that are just unbelievable cities, Remember this, though. Most of the country is very safe. In fact, crime stats outside of Chicago and New York, a couple of them, crime stats are record low. Our countries, even during the pandemic, we're doing well, but where they're run by the liberal Democrats, we're not doing well, and we have to get in. You know, they have to ask us. We had to be asked. Here, they have to ask us, unless we take a very severe action, which ideally you don't want to take. But every time we go in, we solve the problem, and we solve it very quickly. Seattle, look at what's going on with Seattle. I mean, this is a city. This is a real city. And they took over a large portion of that city. And they knew we were going in the following day. They knew it. So they sent their police in. And it was like nobody ever gave up so easily as those characters. But they're radical left anarchists. Whether you're registered as a Democrat, Independent, or Republican, I'm asking for the vote of every American who believes that police officers are not enemies, but heroes who keep us safe. I also want to send our special thanks to the members of the Minnesota National Guard who did such an incredible job stopping the rioting, violence, mayhem in Minneapolis. They were great. They were great. I love it. I love that. It's just a beautiful thing. It's the way it's supposed to work. They cause problems. You have to do it. And the sooner you do it, the easier it is to do. My administration has made clear to every mayor and governor in the country that the federal government is ready to send the National Guard and federal reinforcements. We will wipe out the problem within minutes. You saw it happening right here. You wouldn't have a city if we didn't demand that that take place. You wouldn't have a city. All you have to do is say the word. Every voter should ask themselves a simple question. Do you want the radical left policies of Chicago, Minneapolis, San Francisco imposed on the entire country? Look at Nancy Pelosi. San Francisco's going to hell, and she's in Congress saying what we should be doing. Look at the homeless problem in San Francisco. Look at what's happening in San Francisco. And then she's telling us about the post office. She has no clue. And I must tell you this, does she love our country? Does she love our country? I don't think so, to be honest with you. What she's done is a disgrace to our country, what she's done. And Schumer, crying Chuck. Crying Chuck. He cries whenever it's important to cry. Do you want the failed policies of Mayor Bill de Blasio? Or Mayor Lori Lightfoot, Chicago? Or Mayor Jacob Fry, brought to every city and town in this nation? If left-wing Democrats can't run a city, why on earth would you let them run your country? We have such incredibly run cities. Such incredibly run cities. The problems we have are the radical left. And now she wants $1 trillion, and she's holding it up using a phony excuse of the post office because she wants $1 trillion to go, and you guys all know this. She wants $1 trillion to go to these badly run Democrat cities and states. That's what she wants. And she's using the post office. We want to fix the post office and make it better. It should have been fixed 30 years ago. Over the next 4 years, we're going to implement an aggressive strategy to fight violent crime. It's already been implemented. And we'll expand the surge of federal law enforcement into crime-plagued cities. And we can do that at will. We just have to hear from your governor. Call up. Just let us know. We'll be there. We are ready, willing, and able. We will hire more tough, violent crime prosecutors. We will hire more police. We will dismantle violent left-wing extremist groups like Antifa. They don't even want to say the name Antifa. They don't even want to say the name. And we will pass new laws to prosecute drive-by shootings and an act of domestic terrorism. They will suffer gravely. We will fight for a nation in which every American child is safe on our streets, in which every American family is secure in their homes, and in which all of the American people are confident in our destiny. But to achieve this vision, we must finish the job and drain the Washington swamp once and for all. And get Jason in there, please. Jason Lewis, get him in. Jason, you got to win. Get Jason Lewis, Jason Lewis. Got to win, Jason. You're certainly against a weak opponent. You got to win. For years, left-wing politicians like Joe Biden talked about supporting American workers. Then they got elected and gave away your jobs, shipped away your factories, and they sold off your dreams, your beautiful, beautiful American dreams. They sold them off to the highest bidder. But under this administration, those days are over. Now you have a president who is fighting for you. Over the next 4 years, we will fully restore America's manufacturing independence. We will again rebuild the greatest economy in history. It's happening very fast. You're going to see it very soon. And lift it to even more incredible heights than what we had last year. You had the greatest year in the history of your state last year. We will revitalize police departments and reclaim our cities for law-abiding Americans. We will protect religious liberty, defend the lives of our beautiful unborn children, appoint conservative judges, uphold free speech on college campuses, and safeguard the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms. We will ensure American dominance in space and in military and pave the way to becoming the first nation to plant its flag on Mars. We're working on that. We're doing very well. By the way, when I took off dead, it was gone, right? It was gone. There was nothing. There was grass growing on the runways, grass through the crevices on the runway. It was terrible. And now it's the most vital space program anywhere in the world. Not only the jobs, but the importance of it and the psychology of it. And by the way, for military defense. And we created Space Force. Think of that. We created another one of many, many things. First time in 78 years. Last one was the Air Force, right? Space Force. That's a big deal by itself. If a president did that, they would have achieved something. We did that, and we did hundreds of other things. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to respect our great American flag. We will never waver in defense of our families, our values, our faith, our jobs, our borders, our rights, or our freedoms. Together, we will unite citizens of every race, color, religion, and creed as one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. I want to thank you. You are incredible people. Minnesota, thank you very much. I'll be back. November 3rd, we have to win. God bless you. God bless the great state of Minnesota, and God bless America. Thank you all very much.
All right, and there you have the President of the United States wrapping up his remarks in Mankato, Minnesota. This is Joe Seals back at the Right Side Studio. We're going to go back to Liz here in just a second. In Minnesota, over to the right, you see the crowd awaiting President Trump in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. That event coming up next here on Right Side. So I need you to do a couple things for me. Real quick, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, because we're going to be live all week. We cover every single event that President Trump does. So make sure you're subscribed. And also, if you would like to support us to help us get to all of these, we are 100%, almost 100% viewer supported. Please consider helping our travel fund at rsbnetwork.com/donate. We can only do these with your support. That's why we're here. We're here because the mainstream media wasn't doing its job back in 2015. And I decided to send a camera crew, and this is what it turned into 4 years later and hundreds of millions of views after. Here we are. And the China virus stopped the rallies, but hopefully we're going to have a lot more of these. So stay tuned, subscribe, and donate. rsbnetwork.com/donate. Going to throw it back to Liz now. And then if you'll go to rsbnetwork.com or just go to our YouTube page, you'll see we will start the stream in Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
And welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network. I think President Trump did exactly what he came here to do. He energized the base, the audience. Almost all of them stood for the entire duration of President Trump's remarks. President Trump is currently headed back to Air Force One, where he will take off around 3:20 p.m. and hopefully land in Oshkosh, Wisconsin around 4 p.m., getting ready for his speech at 4:30 p.m. We want to say thank you for tuning in to Right Side Broadcasting Network today. Again, I was your host. My name is Liz Willis, and it was a complete honor to bring you today's event. We want to say thank you as well to our partners, and we cannot stress this enough. Thank you so much to Disme Coins. That's DISME Coins. You can check them out at www.dismecoins.com. Their giveaway is officially live, so if you've been waiting to enter into that, you can go do that right now. Go to dismecoins.com, click the giveaway tabs on the left side of the screen, and you'll be prompted to enter your name and email. That is just so we can reach you if and when you are chosen. The giveaway today is going to be huge because it's actually a 3-part giveaway. It includes today's speech, Tuesday's speech in Arizona, as well as entries that are done on Thursdays. So at the conclusion of President Trump's DNC remarks, there will be multiple speeches going on by President Trump. We will announce the 3 main winners. Each winner will be able to choose between a set of 1-ounce coins, a 2-ounce coin, and a Trump train desk set. We will also be giving out tons of copper coins, and that number increases with the increase of entries. So make sure you get all of your friends and family to get out and enter this giveaway. Disme Coins, not only are they doing a huge giveaway, but you can go ahead and purchase some coins. They come out in over 13 patriotic designs with 2 new designs every single month, highlighting different historical moments from the Trump administration. At RSBN, we are here collecting as many coins as we can, and we absolutely love that Disme Coins gives 10% of profits back to conservative organizations and different causes. You can go to dismecoins.com to start your very own collection, and make sure that you use the code RSBN at checkout for a discount off of your total purchase. Again, that's dismecoins.com. They are absolutely beautiful historic pieces highlighting different historical moments in the Trump administration starting back from 2016. 2 new designs happen every single month on these 1-ounce, 2-ounce, or even the silver bars. There's Trump train desk sets. There are gold keychains or copper keychains. So they're absolutely incredible, something for every price range, and they make incredible gifts. As I promised earlier, I want to jump in and say thank you to those who donated through our website. So our donations are able to be done through the YouTube Super Chat, our website, or by sending a check. Those who donated via our website also get shout outs. So thank you to Susan Parrish, Amy and Jeff in Miami, Cost, Deborah Jackson, Jason Alston, Michael Rodriguez, Dorothy, Mike Glenn, Brian Blackwell, Dr. S. Lambolci, Kelly Furett, Elaine, Donna Tripp, Al Ortega, Bob Baker, Laura Elliott, Roy, Karen Malden, Bruce Call, Diane Watt, TJ Ritzwork, Jeff Thompson, Diana Thorne, Rich Pavlik, Carol and Steve Splitsaucer, Ralph Kors, Mike Wilson, Tommy Ilyamaid, Ralph Lundberg, Camelia Reed, Robert Fume, Terry DeLo, Jerry Zimmer, Man of Messiah, Eric Munson, Janie Cavender, Andrew A., Greg Obar, Michelle Iden, John Conlin, Christine Calabaugh, Diane Stevenson, Richard Santamiro, Antoinetta, Satya Yadagani, Chip Arnett, Patricia Durham, George Laramonia. So those are our donors who decided to help us out financially on our website over at www.rsbnetwork.com/donate. It is not too late to get your shout out. Any donations that continue to come in through this evening will be read at the start of tomorrow's broadcast. So everything you just saw happened here is going to happen again with me live from Yuma, Arizona. I'm super excited to be a part from that. Don't forget that Right Side Broadcasting Network will also be live later this evening in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, where President Trump is scheduled to give his remarks at 4:30 p.m. Central Time. So we've already got a lot of that linked on the screen. Every now and then you'll be able to see the split screen between this arena as well as the hangar in Wisconsin, already filling up. President Trump will be taking off shortly. headed to. We have Randall Tom in the background. Love you, Randall. And we're just so excited to be here. So I'm about to wrap up. We have to hit the road, get on a plane, and head to Phoenix, Arizona, where we will then be driving to Yuma, Arizona. So again, thank you so much. Please don't forget to donate if you enjoyed what you saw and you want to see more coverage of President Trump campaigning across the country and giving his remarks on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. God bless you all, and good night for now. We'll see you later. Again, I'm Liz Willis. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Liz Willis. So check there for any behind-the-scenes information, as well as follow RSBN at RSB Network on Instagram and Twitter for behind-the-scenes posts that I'll be doing throughout this week. Thank you all again. God bless and good night.
All right. Thank you, Liz. Joe Seals back here at Right Side Broadcasting Studio. You're looking live at the scene in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, where President Trump will, he's getting on Air Force One now, headed straight there. And so we are there already set up and ready to go. I'm going to be your host for this one, though. We couldn't get enough folks. We had 4 events over all this week. So it's just me today, and then Liz will join us again tomorrow and in Pennsylvania on Thursday. So we appreciate all of you joining us. Here's how to watch. Number 1, subscribe. Again, if you're not already, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, and then you should get a notification when we go live for the event here in Oshkosh, because it's not on this same link, this same stream that you're watching now. But you will get a notification if you subscribe, and or you can go to our website, rsbnetwork.com. We'll probably start that stream here in about 5 to 10 minutes over there. So if moderators want to direct the traffic over there to the Oshkosh stream, then we will, again, we'll be going live over there very shortly. So thank you all again for tuning in. Hopefully there's a lot more of these things. God bless. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you in about 5 to 10 minutes in Oshkosh, Wisconsin.